Hey guys, my name is Wildkard and welcome back to my channel. Let's have a look what's happening in the rugby world with some news. First up, Izzy Folau. He's back. The guy that flip-flopped on his stance on homosexuality is back. He is suing. Thank God, not Rugby Australia again, because we can't take any more. We can't take any more lawsuits. We can't pay the lawyers anymore. We can't afford that. He's suing the rugby league in Queensland Rugby League for not granting him a license to play with his brothers in the domestic competition in Queensland. And so this is something that Israel seems to be enjoy. He's got a really good relationship with his lawyers. It seems like he will take action against that, and Supreme Court injunction against Queensland Rugby League. I mean, that's a great way to make friends, by the way. And also, just in case you don't know who Izzy Folau is, he is very controversial. He used to be one of probably the biggest star in the Wallabies. And he almost signed my Waratahs jersey at one point. But thank God he did not sign it. He had so many people around him, I couldn't get close enough to get my signature. But thank you God, he didn't touch my jersey. But anyway, he basically was all for homosexuality, all for gay rights. And he posed he even posting, as you can see here, in a gay magazine. And then I won't post this thing, and then I don't know, last year, I think maybe the year before, probably like almost 2 years ago, in 2019, before the World Cup actually, so almost 2 years now, he posted on Instagram a picture, basically says that homosexuals and a bunch of other things like adulterers and all these sinners are going to go to hell. So that ticked off a lot of people. And for me personally, and he's saying that he quoted that as something out of the Bible. So he's saying that hell awaits you or something, and it's something that he claimed that that's his religious belief, despite the fact that he posed for a gay magazine. So for me, I do think that he has the right to say what he wants to say. And, he has the right to believe what he wants to believe, especially when it comes to religion. He should not be fired for that. But just the fact that he posed in a gay magazine leads me to believe that he said those things not really because of his religious beliefs. So if he truly, is a religious reason, he would have never posted it in a gay magazine, right? So I have a very, very low opinion on this guy, and I'm very glad that he's not playing Union again. And he's at it again, suing the poor old Queensland Rugby League. There you go. Let me know what you think about this guy. Second of all, there's a bit of a blow to the Wallabies front series coming up in July. The French captain, Charles Olivon, he is actually one of the best players in the French team. He plays number 7, and he's really good at running, and he runs really good support lines. He plays almost like a center at times in the French lineup. You tend to find him in center field, linking up with the backs, doing a lot of offloading. He's really good at the breakdown as well. And unfortunately, he's injured, and he won't be playing for 9 months. He has a knee injury that requires surgery, and that's really unfortunate because I was looking forward to see him play against the Wallabies. And injury has been quite a bit of a curse for both sides actually. So whilst we're on that news, let's follow up with the Wallabies. So the Wallabies announced a 38-man squad for the France team. There were some very questionable picks. There's 11 uncapped players. And due to injuries, a number, again, in the Wallaby sides as well, a number of really big names and prominent players are out. So Patea is out. Jordan Patea is out from the Reds. Was really, really good. Been good for the Reds. He was, single-handedly picked by Michael Cheika to play against England in Rugby World Cup. I think he debuted against England in Rugby World Cup semi-final. He's very, very talented. So he's injured. Sulialu. Vinavalu. It's just, I can't pronounce his first name. Vinavalu, also injured. The speedster for the Reds. He's out. And also, most recently on the weekend, just happened, the superstar center for the Waratahs, despite being announced in the team, Isaiah Peresi is out with a dislocated shoulder. He got it literally the day before the team announcement. And Jake Gordon is also in the team, but he's probably not going to be playing with a knee injury. So, yeah. And also, Lockie Swinton, he copped a red card on the game against, on the weekend, on Saturday, for a reckless shoulder charge. Yeah, reckless clean out where he smacked the player on the ground with a shoulder, on the head with his shoulder. So he's potentially going to get his match ban. So see how that judiciary turns out. So he might not be able to play either. So really, really unfortunate for the Wallabies team. But anyway, I have a video about the Wallabies team and our full squads. Overall, I do think that there are some questionable selections. Some of the Rebels players I am not a big fans of. Some of the players, there are some players I'm really looking forward to see. The Tongan Thor, to see him again play against international standard. Tanela Tupou is very exciting for me. And I want to see the backline at work for the Wallabies. I wanted to see Tom Banks to see how he fared up against a French backline who's very, very good. Has been a lot of French flair, so to speak. And I'm really looking forward to see the number 9 matchup, which is the big key points against this French team, because the French number 9 is considered the best in the world in Europe, European media, but he is actually extremely talented. His name is Antoine Dupont. He is instrumental in setting up the French attack. He plays almost like a fly half in some ways. Like he does, grubber kicks, and he does a lot of, strategic kicking for the team. He carries the ball really well. He plays almost like a fly half. Antoine Dupont, he's considered, definitely considered the most talented player in France. And in Europe, he's considered the best fly half best halfback in the world. So to see him matching up with, in my opinion, Tate McDermott deserves the start for the Reds. Tate McDermott has that flair. He has really good vision around the rucks, seeing the space, and he's really good at just carrying the ball himself and identifying where the space is and directing the attack. So Tate McDermott will be a great matchup, and that's something that I really look forward to seeing in this test series. Anyway, let's moving on. The Rainbow Cup, the Bulls has made it to the finals of the Rainbow Cup with their, with their veterans. Monet Stain play instrumentally well for the Bulls to get them to the finals, to the Rainbow Cup finals. However, Monet Stain would not be playing in the final himself, as he's called up to the Springboks to a training camp to get ready for the Lions series. I do think that Monet Stain probably has a good case to start for the Springboks. He's dialed back the time, and he's in very, very top form, and he's gonna be something to watch out for the British and Lions series. Now, a bit more on the British and Lions tour. The Lions, aka the Cats, the opening match against the British and Irish Lions in the tour, there's a COVID case that's been detected, and their game on the weekend was cancelled. And luckily, the opening game is not happen. It doesn't. Yeah, the opening game doesn't start till 3rd of July. So luckily, they still have time to rectify everything. Just have to make sure that everyone is, everything is safe before the series kick off. So they're probably gonna have a lockdown in the team amongst the team members, get them quarantined. But yeah, that's a little bit of a close to comfort for the Lions tour. If the Cats, if the first game gets pulled, it's just gonna be a little bit of a bummer of a start for the series. And also, I know the media, the fake news, don't want to talk about it, but I don't care. I want to talk about it. Fake news, completely ignore this. But, from me, the Wildkard, of rugby, I will talk about it. The controversial referee decisions on the weekend. There are a bunch of referee decisions, and there's two that is really stands out and has been really not talked about on the fake news. Anyway, let's have a look at the first one. So this is the Bryce Hegarty yellow card. There was basically a grubber kick. This was the Reds versus Hurricanes game, and the game was really close. I think the Reds was behind by just a try behind at this point. A try and 3 points. And there was 20 minutes left on the clock. And the Hurricanes really pulled away after Bryce Hegarty got yellow carded, and the Reds really just fell into a dump. And it's all because of the referee decision. So as you can see, there was a grubber kick into the end zone, and two players were chasing. I think the other player on the ground is the Hurricanes player. I think it's Lumape is chasing. But anyway, as you can see, this is Hegarty's hand. He's in a position to look like he's about to ground the ball. But, as the way the ball is being ricocheted, he pushes the ball out. Okay, just have watch for 1 second. So he's trying to ground the ball. It's a downward motion, in my opinion. And he pushes the ball. The ball slips out, pushes the ball out. And the referee, it's Lumape. The referee calls this deliberate, he called it that Hegarty deliberately knocked the ball out of bound. And he issued a yellow card. Everybody in commentary, everybody watching in commentary thought, there's no big deal. Just play on, goal line drop out or whatever. The referee is the only person seems to be seeing this differently. He said there's a professional foul as Hegarty intentionally pushed the ball out. As you just saw, he had a downward motion and the ball kind of ricocheted off his hand. So in my opinion, so he issued a yellow card and a penalty try for this. So this was really like a bad decision. But you can argue that this is a bad decision, but it's not really like it's a 50-50 decision. It depends how you looked at it. But it's probably to do with the referee training. If they got trained a little bit better, they could have made a better decision. But you could potentially argue that Hegarty smacked the ball out intentionally. So it's not really like completely wrong. It's just that based on the evidence, it's very hard to decide. It's actually a very fine line to decide which way this could go. And the referee decided to go, technically, probably the incorrect way. You can still argue whether he made the right call or not. So that's the first controversial call. In my opinion, I was really disappointed because he ruined the game. The very close matchup just fell apart. The Hurricanes just completely blown the Reds away after Hegarty got sent off. And from the fans' perspective and entertainment perspective, this wrong decision really killed the game. That was my gripe with this. And the second one, and this is mind blowing. This is the Waratahs versus Chiefs game on the weekend, and it is Vaa'i. Is it? Oh yeah, Tupou Vaa'i. Sorry, what is it? Yeah, Tupou Vaa'i. So this tackle, see here. Okay, you can see right here. I freeze framed it exact spot. There's a head collision between the two players. There's no shoulder to the head. There's no arm to the head or anything. There's a head collision, and the referee decided that this was a foul play. And by the way, the game played on for like a few minutes after this. Decided that there was a TMO referral, and TMO showed the referee, and the referee had a look, and the referee decided that this was foul play due to contact to the head, despite the fact that it was a accidental head clash. The referee somehow deemed that there was this Tupou Vaa'i is at fault for the head clash, and not only gave him a penalty, but issued a yellow card. Now this, unlike the Bryce Hegarty one, this is a 50-50 call, and it's a very fine line between the correct and the incorrect call. This is straight up just wrong. This is there's no rule that says an accidental head clash is a foul play in any in rugby. And And just the fact that if you think about it, how can both players clash heads? So why isn't Harrison getting yellow carded for clashing his head into Vaa'i? It doesn't even make any sense. And the referee somehow deemed this a dangerous tackle, high contact to the head, yellow card. This is never seen before in rugby. Never seen. This is the first time in the history somebody got yellow carded for an accidental head clash. So, yeah, this is really, 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 really bad. And this is really inexcusable. And, the Australian referees just have to make sure they're the worst. They just can't let the Kiwi referee take the take the headlines for bad refereeing. They have to really outdo themselves to beat this Bryce Hegarty call. This was a Kiwi referee, and this was an Australian referee. They really have to make sure that the Kiwis don't get ahead in anything, right? And and this is you can see right here, head clash, yellow card. This is just poor. Australian rugby and New Zealand rugby needs to invest in their referees training quite a bit more than what we're seeing here. That's quite frankly what's happening. Anyway, finally, let's have a look at the Super Rugby results. So again, the New Zealanders have swept Australia clean, 5-0 on the weekend, and it started with the Hurricanes hosting the Reds at home. The game was relatively close, as you can see. Actually, the Hurricanes had 587 meters, and the Reds have 732 run meters. So the Reds actually was in the front foot before Hegarty was got carded, and Hurricanes really just pulled away in the last 20 minutes or so. 156 carries, so the Reds had more carries. Defenders beaten 48 to the Hurricanes and 28 to the Reds. Big defensive issue there for the Reds. Another thing that's 18 turnovers for the Hurricanes and 15 turnovers for the Reds. 158 tackles for the Hurricanes, 105 for the Reds. 28 missed tackles for the Hurricanes and 48 for the Reds. That is like almost 50% missed tackles. If you look at it, right? 105 tackles and 48 missed. That's almost 50% missed tackles. That's like 45% missed tackles. That is so terrible for the Reds. You really can't blame them for losing. But yeah, 9 rucks lost. The Hurricanes did some really good work on the ruck sets as well. But overall, I do think this was a very entertaining game to about 64 minutes. And then the referee gave the yellow card and really drastically just changed swung the game to the Hurricanes. And and really just ruined it for me. Second game of the evening was the Brumbies versus Highlanders. This game was pretty close in the first half. The Brumbies were well in the game. And then the pressure came on for the Highlanders and the Brumbies fell apart in the second half. The Brumbies were not able to score a single point in the second half. Really disappointing. The run meters for the Brumbies, 372, 330 for the Highlanders. 91 carries for the Brumbies, 84 for the Highlanders. 17 defenders beaten for the Brumbies, 21 for the Highlanders. And 13 turnovers conceded for the Brumbies and 8 conceded for the Highlanders. Missed tackles are pretty similar, 103 tackles with 21 missed tackles for the Brumbies, 104 tackles for the Highlanders, and 17 missed tackles for the Highlanders. And Highlanders, after this bonus point win over the Brumbies, they have secured themselves in the finals against the Blues over the Crusaders. So this was a very, very important win for the Highlanders, and they were up against a relatively tough opponent. And the Highlanders has performed really well under the pressure, really composed. And I do think that going in against the Blues, despite being away from home, I think the Highlanders will win this game against the Blues. Just the fact that the Highlanders were up against the Brumbies and they were able to stay composed and really finish strong in the second half and shut the Brumbies out in the second half. That was very, very impressive. for me. And the next game is the Crusaders versus Rebels, and this will be very disappointing for the Crusaders fans. The Rebels are probably second worst team they are the second worst team in the Australian competition, and their defense has been really poor throughout the season. So the Crusaders need to, just based on the great performance by the Highlanders, the Crusaders needed to beat the Rebels by 33 points to make into the finals, to go over the Highlanders. And against the Rebels, it's not unimaginable, considering going into this weekend, you would think that the Crusaders had it in bag, because the Highlanders had to beat a bonus point win against a very tough Brumbies team, whereas the Rebels are much, much less of a threat for the Crusaders to get points on the ball. But yeah, the Crusaders really struggled, and just little mistakes here and there really cost the Crusaders, and the Rebels were able to, spoil the fun for the Crusader fans. The Crusaders run meters 801 against Rebels 477. So 470 is actually pretty high for a team that lost, right? So the Crusaders did not have the defense definitely didn't step up. You will suppose something around the 300 mark will be like the average for a game. So that's still above the average. So the Crusaders definitely let the Rebels run the ball quite a bit more than they would like. Carries are pretty similar. Defenders beaten, 48 defenders beaten for the Crusaders, 23 for the Rebels. There's 23 clean breaks for the Crusaders to Rebels 10, and still 10 clean breaks against Crusaders, something that probably needs to be worked on. 16 turnovers to 15 for the Crusaders. Tackles, the Crusaders 183 tackles, only 23 missed tackles, and that's like 80%, above 80%, high 80s, 80%, just quick math in my head. Whereas the Rebels, 48 missed tackles to 117 tackles made. Again, that is really poor. That is like 60% completion rate? Really, really poor for the Rebels. But then, overall, the Crusaders under the pump to score 33 points, and they were not able to do so. And the Hurricanes, they got really close at one point, but I think they needed one try to get there. They just didn't have were not able to finish the Rebels off for that one try. It was really, really close, by the way. So Crusaders not gonna make the finals, and it was really, really close. And then let's have a look at the final two games played on the weekend. So the Blues against the Western Force. The Blues had to win this game to secure a home final. They didn't need any bonus points. They had like 100 something points margin, so they were guaranteed them. There's no way the other teams could get 100 points in one game. So the Blues just have to win this game to secure their finals. So the Blues came out really strong this game and put a very clinical performance over the Western Force in the first half. The Western Force were basically snuffed out, and it was looking like it was going to be a massive blowout for the Blues. And 4 tries in the first half for the Blues, and that was it. That was all Blues did for the whole game. They had one penalty kick in the second half, and that was it. Maybe it was the pressure mounting on the Blues. The Western Force definitely played better in the second half, and the Western Force almost spoiled the party. There was a period in the second half where Western Force almost scored around the 65 minute mark, and if they had scored that, the Blues will be very dangerous, could potentially not win this game. But the Western Force dominated the second half, and the Blues were kind of in that maintenance mode where they just want to eke out a win. And for this reason, I think the Blues, despite being the favorites at home, is going to lose to the Highlanders, because the Highlanders being away, I think it was away. Yeah, it was away, playing a really tough Brumbies team, finished perfectly in the second half, and secure themselves a win. All right, secure the points and the bonus points they needed to be in the finals. Whereas the Blues just had to beat the Western Force at home, facing, not really facing that much of a threat, to be honest. And the Blues, almost choked. So just that, I think the Highlanders have better composure, and in a big, high-pressure finals match for the Trans-Tasman participation trophy, I think the Highlanders might take that over the Blues. So that's my predictions. And finally, we have the last game of the season. Waratahs lost to the Chiefs 7 points to 40. The standout is Wainui, 5 tries, historical 5 tries in a Super Rugby game. I think that is a record for the Chiefs. He made it look super easy. Overall, the Chiefs had 574 run meters, 448 for the Waratahs. Waratahs had more ball actually, 133 to 107, but the Chiefs were very clinical in their attack. 27 defenders beaten for the Chiefs, 23 defenders beaten for the Waratahs, 18 clean breaks for the Chiefs, 7 clean breaks for the Waratahs, 17 conceded turnovers for the Chiefs. So the Chiefs conceded more turnovers than the Waratahs, 13. 148 tackles made for the Chiefs, 23 missed tackles, whereas the Waratahs has 97 tackles made and 27. So the tackle count was a lot worse for the Waratahs. And finally, this big number here, 10 turnovers for the Chiefs to Waratahs 1. So the Chiefs really did good in the breakdowns to secure this win. I think I did miss out the stats for the Blues game, so let's have a look at the Blues one before we finish up. So Blues has 397 run meters to 288 for the Western Force, 110 carries for both teams, 22 defenders beaten for the Blues, 20 for the Western Force, 9 clean breaks for the Blues, 3 clean breaks for the Western Force. And I think the main thing we want to look at is the tackles. 108 for the Blues, 20 missed tackles, and 133 tackles made for the Western Force, and 22 missed tackles. Pretty similar. Western Force has slightly higher completion rates for tackles. But overall, this was a game of 2 halves, like I mentioned. Blues dominated in the first half, completely shut out the Western Force, whereas the Western Force was staged a very, very, very strong and scary comeback against the Blues, and the Blues almost choked. Anyway, guys, that's the news for the week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys this weekend for the Super Rugby Trans-Tasman Participation Trophy Finals. Let's get that out of the way, and looking forward to the International Test Series, and I'll see you guys a bit later on this week. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Oh, and the All Blacks team announcements coming up this weekend. Who's excited? Anyway, I'll see you guys a little bit later. Cheers.